I'm going to show you a scene right now with great structure, really good dialogue, strong B-roll, and high-end shot flow. Now, on paper, it should work perfectly, but it doesn't. There are two major things wrong with this sequence, and we're going to fix them in this episode. So, are you ready? Okay, here we go. Let's watch it.
If I was to say there's anything specific I'm looking for in a shot, it's good light. If I'm in a place where good light is falling on something interesting, I'll start taking pictures. I love light. I chase light. I wait for light. I anticipate light. I wonder about it. I'm always in tune to it. It's one of my greatest passions. It's hazy, but we finally got some sunlight. And it's gorgeous, and it feels good. My obsession with light must have come from my early childhood when I was 5, in the woods of Maine, running around in the forest, looking at, National Geographic magazine with my dad, talking about the photos. I was always kind of fascinated by reflections on the ground, on the walls. Reflection puzzles, as I call them. Where does that reflection come from? Why is it that color? Why is it that shape? What's its source? Look at the water. Look at that light on the water. It's amazing. Oh my God. In the morning, the light is at a very low angle, and its qualities are much different. Shape and form are much more dramatic. Oh, wow, that's really nice. But it's just as brilliant and intense. I don't think about rule of thirds or leading lines or symmetry or, I think about it as an artist, not a technician. What looks good? The light leads me there, and just my know-how lets me achieve what I want to get out of the shot. Usually I don't really kind of have a set place to shoot. I just kind of go around and follow the light. If the light's pretty, there's always something to shoot.
So on the surface, it feels good. Nice dialogue, beautiful imagery, strong shot flow. Everything seems to be doing its job. Theoretically, it should be a perfect, finished rough cut. That's ready to show to our director, the senior producers, or whatever clients we're working with. So let's cut to the chase. What's wrong with it? Well, there's two major editorial problems here, and funnily enough, they are actually related to each other. And I can tell you that there's some of the most common problems that I see with our students at Inside the Edit who come to learn high-end editing. So what are they? Well, let's reveal them. Firstly, music, and secondly, space. Okay, so what the hell do I mean by that? Well, let's take a detailed look at the actual sequence on our timeline. Now, I've put markers at all of the problem areas within the scene, and I'm going to talk through each one. Then I'll show you a recut version, and you'll immediately see and feel the difference. So let's dive in. Okay, so let's take a look at this first marker here. Now,
If I was to say there's anything specific I'm looking for in a shot,
so this for me is a bit sloppy. This is a reflective scene, so the music at the moment just starts underneath his sink. Now, if it's a reflective scene, what I'd normally do is set the tone first with the music. You've got two choices, really. You can have the music start first and then the sync come in. Or if you are going to start with just sync, with just dialogue, have the first line and then use the end of the first line, like there, to trigger the start of the music. That's a very well used kind of starting cutting pattern. So essentially, I don't like that at all. Um, so I'd want to put some music before that and create some space in between that. So we got music and space issues there. Let's carry on and look at this one.
if I'm in a place, if I'm in a place where
Now that's okay, but there's not much going on in the music here. High string, and then something actually starts to happen,
if
and then it goes straight into the sync. So something's happening underneath here. Now that's not necessarily a problem because it's not a big thing that's happening. It's not some big dramatic thing, but it just feels a bit sloppy to me.
I'll start taking pictures. I love light. I chase light.
Now, in terms of space here, I think editors love lists. We love lists. I love this, I love this, I love this, I love this. That's an opportunity to have some fun with that. But I think it happens too rapidly. So I want to create some space there and I want to sync it underneath with something more interesting in the music. We're still in the first sort of 25, 30 seconds. So I don't really like this area here. I think there's not enough space in between these areas here. I want to pause it out a bit to make it more dramatic. And then you've got this quite interesting piano going on and it's sort of hidden underneath.
I love light. I chase light. I wait for light. I wait for light.
Listen to that. What is that? Is that a flute coming in? I think it's a flute or something. I don't know. But there's a big change there that happens underneath the music. So it's hidden underneath here. So a couple of big markers here. Change is happening and I'm not hearing it because it's not being aligned to areas that are in between, the space in between the sync, the dialogue. So let's look for the next one.
My obsession with light must have come from my early childhood when I was 5 in the woods of Maine, running around in the forest.
Now listen to that. Let's just turn off the dialogue track there. Let's solo. Look, this is a pretty big change in the music. This is a big kind of grandeur that happens to it. And I think it's wasted there. I'd rather align it to something that is, bigger in the space of what's going on. Something that has a bit more kind of like epicness, like maybe some movement or something like that. But this change, this big radical epic change, is happening, and it's hidden underneath this sync. So that's not good in my mind. Okay, so what's next?
Talking about the photos. I was always kind of
See, that's kind of nice. Duh, duh, duh. That's a phrase. It's a nice phrase, but it's unfinished here.
I was always kind of fascinated by reflections on the ground, on the walls.
So we've got these two areas here. This whole area just feels like one really beautiful phrase, And it's like when you're putting in the sync, you want to put sync, then phrase, then sync, then phrase. Not in every single circumstance, but if we've got 3 or 4 key moments within the scene where that's really aligned, um, it's going to feel much better, you know? So that feels slightly misaligned to me there. Let's look at another one.
Reflection puzzles, as I call them. You know, where does that reflection come from? Why is it that color? Why is it that shape?
Again, he's talking very intensely there and quite fast. Why this color, this shape, this da da blah 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 blah. And there's some intense stuff going on in the music. Look at this. Listen to this. It's mixed low. It's a rough mix. So you know, I haven't put the care and attention. It's an offline mix. But let's listen to this. Look at that. There's a rumble of the drums and then a big kind of epic move. And again, that's being lost underneath this area here. So again, another one, not cool.
Amazing. Oh my God. In the morning, the light.
Now that's kind of, it's not too bad. The phrase, the complete phrase, or most of the complete phrase is kind of timed to a similar duration here. Um, it kind of works, but I think we can do better here. I really do think we could do better. But roughly speaking, the reason I highlight this is because what you're looking for is you want musical phrase duration to last in some circumstances, or at least in key circumstances, for the duration of the music and for the space. So matching space and musical phrasing is, you know, you don't interrupt someone when they're talking. And so don't interrupt the musical phrase. Let it finish and then start the next chunk of sync. So that's sort of okay. Probably could improve that, but because it sounds a bit cut off at the start and the end. But we'll see what the next one is.
The light is at a very low angle, and its qualities are much different. I mean, shape and form are much more dramatic.
Again, we've got this nice flourish underneath here. Ideally, I don't know if it can work, but I'd like that flourish to start after he's finished talking, you know? It's a place in the next cut when we refine this that I'll look at. Let's look at the next one.
I don't think about rule of thirds or leading lines or symmetry or, you know, I think about it as an artist, not a technician.
Again, that just seems a bit cut off to me. It just seems a bit cut off.
Just my know-how lets me achieve what I want to get out of you know, what looks good. And the light leads me there, and just my know-how lets me achieve what I want to get out of
So there, for me, the big string piece there is fighting the sync. Big things are happening in the music that's hidden underneath the sync. Because essentially, you know, look what we've done here. All I did was take this track and just plaster it all the way down. I didn't do any cutting at all. I just went bang, all the way on the bottom and then faded out. And that's what so many people do, because they think if I match the tone and the kind of, you know, the orchestration and the emotion, that's it, job done. But no, it doesn't work like that. You're kind of 50% of the way there. You really, really have to chop the track up and realign it so that these key moments happen.
lets me achieve what. Usually I don't.
Actually, let's watch this phrase here. Look, so does that space match a musical phrase here?
Out of the shot. Usually I don't really kind of have a
Now, that kind of matches, but the problem is the phrase starts here. So that's where the issue is. And that's what causes a problem.
Usually I don't really kind of have a set place to shoot. I just kind of like go around and follow the light.
Now, that just seems really messy. There's a big transition there from big to kind of dreamy within the music, and it just sounds messy. I'd want something in the pictures to illustrate that transition, or I'd take that instrumentation and I'd match it to this light movement or something like that.
Like go around and follow the light. Go around and follow the light.
You know, that whatever that is, I don't know what instrument that is, I can't really hear it, but I probably align that much, much more with the pictures while it's not, again, being hidden by the sync. And then finally, let's just listen to this bit here.
Follow the light. If the light's pretty, there's always something to shoot.
Now, listen to this. Listen to this phrase here, because this doesn't sound like a resolution to the scene. It seems unfinished to me. Like that's a phrase you'd get in the middle of a track. It's not like da 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 da. Like we're coming to a resolution at the end of the scene at what, 3 minutes 05. So again, no resolution. Simply because I just took the track and plastered it over the whole, on A3 or whatever. So yeah, a whole bunch of problems. All of them come from misalignment and the space in between. Okay, so we can see that so many things are just not hitting their marks. The combination of unthought through music editing within the track's phrasing and the crafting of space that doesn't fit those phrases basically creates a sequence that never lives up to its potential. Now, the solution to this is one of the many techniques I teach at Inside the Edit, and it has a very specific name. I call it the Duet Theory. Just like we choose the best dialogue from our interviews, we also need to choose the best parts of the music and musical phrases from within that track. We don't just do this by putting the best piece of music down onto the bottom tracks in any one scene and just forget about it like anyone else. We rebuild the track around the scene. We combine them together in a duet between one and the other. The character speaks their lines, and then the music speaks its phrases, just like a duet. So let's watch a recut version of this scene edited with Duet Theory, and you'll see the difference.
If I was to say there's anything specific I'm looking for in a shot, it's good light. If I'm in a place where good light is falling on something interesting, I'll start taking pictures. I love light. I chase light. I wait for light. I anticipate light. I wonder about it. I'm always in tune to it. It's one of my greatest passions. It's hazy, but we finally got some sunlight, and it's gorgeous, and it feels good. My obsession with light must have come from my early childhood when I was 5, in the woods of Maine, running around in the forest, looking at, National Geographic magazine with my dad, talking about the photos. was always kind of fascinated by reflections on the ground, on the walls. Reflection puzzles, as I call them. You know, where does that reflection come from? Why is it that color? Why is it that shape? What's its source? Look at the water. Look at that light on the water. It's amazing. Oh my God. In the morning, the light is at a very low angle, and its qualities are much different. I mean, shape and form are much more dramatic. Oh, wow, that's really nice. But it's just as brilliant and intense. I don't think about rule of thirds or leading lines or symmetry or, you know. I think about it as an artist, not a technician. You know, what looks good? And the light leads me there, and just my know-how lets me achieve what I want to get out of the shot. Usually I don't really kind of have a set place to shoot. I just kind of like go around and follow the light. If the light's pretty, there's always something to shoot.
What a massive difference, right? Musical phrases are inserted into the space that keeps their duration.
I'll start taking pictures.
Big dramatic things that happen within the music are not allowed to happen underneath the dialogue and therefore be hidden.
I wonder about it. I'm always in tune to it.
And a sense of resolution happens at the end of the scene in a much clearer and satisfying way with that music.
If the light's pretty, there's always something to shoot.
Now, should this happen on every single cut within the scene? No, that would be going to another extreme in, the other direction. But if we target the most interesting or biggest changes within the music and align them to those spaces within the dialogue sync, the scene looks 100 times more crafted. It looks like it was scored deliberately for this scene. A perfect scene should have a very strong dialogue arc. It should also have a very strong pictorial arc, which mirrors and reflects the dialogue arc. But not many people talk about the musical arc that has to sit underneath it and gel them both together. Try this out. Let me know how you get on below in the comments. Or if you want to come and see me do this kind of stuff live and ask me questions as we go, come and join our YouTube membership live sessions. As always, thank you for your kind attention, dear friend. My name is Paddy Bird, and this is Inside the Edit.